The doors of the Truman Presidential Library Museum opened just a few days ago.
The museum underwent a $29 million renovation, not a reservation, all right. Between that and the pandemic, its doors were closed for 2 years. But there are some national treasures you won't see at the newly reopened museum. That's because they were stolen more than 40 years ago.
Yep, the I-Team first brought you this story in May. Tonight, reporter Kat Reed shares an account from a woman who was interviewed by the FBI about this heist.
March 24th, 1978, a day that saw snow on the ground outside, and inside, shards of glass littered the floor at the Truman Library and Museum.
My favorite objects were gone, and it was sad.
Carol Burnett is talking about these swords and daggers, gifts to President Truman from heads of state in Iran and Saudi Arabia. In 1978, Burnett worked at the museum. Her sales desk was just across the room from these national treasures.
Yeah, I could see those rubies talking to me all day.
Until that March day when, in 45 seconds, the thieves smashed the glass by the front door of the library and shattered the display case. After hearing an alarm go off, the security guard ran down a long corridor from the north to the south side of the library. When he got to the double doors leading to the exhibit, he heard a chain rattling. The thieves had locked the doors from the other side.
So that gave them a few extra seconds while they could pilfer things out of the case and then go back out the window.
Somewhere in storage, Burnett still has some of the shards of glass found on the floor that day.
Just a little souvenir to say, yeah, I was there.
She remembers the shock of coming into work to find detectives searching for clues.
We were in the sleepy 70s, and we just didn't realize that there were professionals on that kind of level. At least here in Independence.
In the days following the break-in, the FBI interviewed Burnett.
I think they had a couple of ideas, but they were just kind of grasping at straws, because it was something that happened so randomly, quickly, no evidence. Where do you go?
There are theories about what happened. Maybe the thieves melted down the swords and daggers to sell the precious stones. Or, in an old newspaper clipping, Kansas City Star reporter James Kendall suggested something else.
Somewhere in the United States or possibly abroad, a collector clad in a smoking jacket and sipping an expensive liqueur sits in a vault deep in the bowels of his mansion and smiles. On a wall in front of him is the object of his satisfaction, the array of swords and daggers.
I would like to think that a collector has them somewhere, squirreled away.
If that's the case, Burnett has a message for that person.
I would probably say, shame on you. Those are ours. They're not yours. And you need to give them back.
If that ever happens, Burnett plans to be the first in line to see those treasures back at the museum. For the I-Team, I'm Kat Reed, 41 Action News.
An FBI spokeswoman told the I-Team there's no new information about the case to release right now. But if you know anything about the stolen artifacts, call the FBI in Kansas City or go to tips.fbi.gov. By the way, there's a $10,000 reward. Also, be sure to check out kshb.com where you'll find this interactive map of clues that hold the key to this mystery at the museum.